The gym trainer was convinced the black woman couldn't handle the advanced workout routine and insisted on giving her beginner modifications. But when she started lifting weights that made other athletes stop and stare, he realized he had just insulted an Olympic champion. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, and a comment before we start to learn more about what happened. Elite Performance Fitness stood as the pinnacle of athletic training facilities in downtown Miami, its gleaming equipment and celebrity clientele making it the preferred destination for professional athletes, fitness influencers, and wealthy residents seeking the ultimate workout experience. The 15,000 square foot facility featured Olympic standard weightlifting platforms, specialized training zones, and a staff of certified trainers who worked with some of the world's most elite athletes. Alicia Washington walked through the glass doors of Elite Performance at 6 a.m. on a Tuesday morning, carrying a simple gym bag and wearing basic athletic wear, black leggings, a plain tank top, and well-worn training shoes. At 28, Alicia had just returned to Miami after spending 6 months training at the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs, preparing for the upcoming World Championships in weightlifting. To most observers, Alicia looked like any other fitness enthusiast starting her day with an early workout. Nothing about her modest appearance suggested that she was a 3-time Olympic gold medalist, current world record holder in the 75-kilogram weight class, and widely considered one of the greatest female weightlifters in history. Jake Morrison had been working as a personal trainer at Elite Performance for 3 years, building a reputation for his work with high-profile clients and his expertise in strength training. At 31, Jake took considerable pride in his ability to assess athletes' capabilities and design appropriate training programs that matched their skill levels and physical limitations. When Alicia approached the front desk to check in for her guest pass, arranged by her coach, who was a member at the gym, Jake immediately began evaluating her based on his professional experience. He saw a black woman of average height and build, wearing inexpensive workout clothes, who appeared to be new to the facility. "Good morning," Alicia said to the receptionist. "I have a guest pass under Washington." The receptionist confirmed her appointment and handed her a temporary access card. "You're all set. Would you like a facility tour or trainer consultation?" "No, thank you," Alicia replied. "I'm familiar with the equipment." Jake overheard the conversation and decided to intervene. As one of the gym's senior trainers, he felt responsible for ensuring that new members received proper guidance, especially those who might overestimate their abilities and risk injury. "Excuse me," Jake said, approaching Alicia with his practiced professional smile. "I'm Jake Morrison, one of the trainers here. I couldn't help but notice you're new to Elite Performance." "Yes, I'm visiting for a few weeks," Alicia replied politely. "Excellent. What's your fitness background? Are you looking to get started with a training program?" Alicia sensed the condescending undertone in Jake's question, but remained patient. "I have some experience with weightlifting." Jake nodded knowingly. "That's great. A lot of women are intimidated by the weight room, but we have excellent programs for beginners. I'd be happy to show you some basic exercises to get you started." "I appreciate the offer, but I'm planning to do some heavy lifting today." Jake's expression shifted to concern. "Heavy lifting? I have to be honest, that concerns me. Elite Performance caters to serious athletes, and our equipment is designed for advanced users. Without proper experience, you could seriously hurt yourself." Alicia looked around the gym, noting the Olympic lifting platforms and specialized equipment that she had used in training facilities around the world. "I understand your concern, but I'm comfortable with the equipment." Jake wasn't convinced. "Look, I've been training people for years, and I can usually tell when someone is ready for advanced work. No offense, but you don't have the build of someone who should be attempting heavy compound movements." The comment stung, but Alicia maintained her composure. "What kind of build should I have?" Jake realized he was treading on sensitive ground, but pressed ahead with his assessment. Serious lifters usually have more obvious muscle development, calloused hands from heavy training, and a certain presence in the gym. You seem more suited to our group fitness classes or cardio equipment. I see, Alicia replied calmly. And what if I told you I'd like to work with the Olympic lifting platforms? Jake laughed dismissively. Those platforms are reserved for our elite athletes and competitive lifters. We can't have inexperienced people attempting Olympic movements. It's a liability issue. Alicia decided to test Jake's assumptions further. What would qualify as experienced enough for your Olympic platforms? Well, you'd need to demonstrate significant strength levels, proper technique, and ideally some competitive background. We're talking about people who can clean and jerk body weight or more, who understand periodization and training cycles. Body weight or more. At minimum, our serious lifters are working with multiples of body weight. The women who use those platforms are typically lifting 200+ pounds overhead. Alicia nodded thoughtfully. That does sound challenging. Jake felt validated in his assessment. Exactly. Look, there's no shame in starting with basics. We have excellent kettlebell classes, some great yoga instructors, and I could design a beginner strength program that would get you ready for more advanced work in a few months. A few months? Maybe 6 months to a year, depending on your dedication and natural ability. Building real strength takes time, especially for... Jake caught himself before completing a thought that would have revealed the gender and racial biases underlying his assumptions. Especially for what? Alicia prompted. Jake recovered quickly. Especially for people who are new to serious training. Alicia glanced at her watch. Jake, I appreciate your concern for my safety, but I'd really like to get started with my workout. Would it be possible to use one of the Olympic platforms? Jake's frustration showed. Ma'am, I'm trying to help you understand that those platforms aren't appropriate for your skill level. I'd be happy to set you up with some dumbbells or maybe the assisted pull-up machine. The assisted pull-up machine? It's perfect for building foundational strength. Most women find it challenging but achievable. Alicia realized that Jake's assumptions were so deeply ingrained that logical argument wouldn't change his mind. She decided to take a different approach. Jake, what if I signed a waiver acknowledging that I'm using the equipment at my own risk? Jake shook his head. It's not just about liability. It's about maintaining the integrity of our training environment. Our serious athletes need to focus on their workouts without distractions. Distractions? People attempting weights they can't handle poor form, failed lifts. It disrupts the flow of training for everyone else. Alicia looked around the gym and noticed several other members watching their conversation with interest. Among them was Maria Santos, a former Olympic swimmer who had trained with Alicia at various international competitions. Alicia, Maria called out from across the gym. Is that you? Alicia smiled and waved. Hi, Maria. Good to see you. Maria jogged over, her face lighting up with recognition. I can't believe you're here. Are you training for Worlds? Just trying to maintain fitness between competition cycles, Alicia replied. Jake looked confused as Maria continued. Jake, have you met Alicia Washington? She's probably the strongest woman on the planet right now. Jake's expression shifted from confusion to skepticism. Strongest woman? Maria laughed. Jake, you're talking to the current world record holder in weightlifting. 3 Olympic gold medals, 5 world championship titles. She's literally the reason I started strength training. Jake stared at Alicia, his mind struggling to reconcile Maria's claims with his initial assessment. You're a weightlifter? Among other things, Alicia replied modestly. Maria turned to Jake with amusement. Please tell me you weren't trying to steer her toward beginner classes. Jake's face flushed with embarrassment as he realized the magnitude of his mistake. I didn't know. What's her current clean and jerk record, Jake? Maria asked mischievously. Jake looked helplessly at Alicia, who answered calmly. 165 kilograms, about 363 pounds. The number hit Jake like a physical blow. He had just told a woman who could lift nearly twice his body weight that she should start with dumbbells and assisted pull-ups. Maria continued enjoying Jake's discomfort. And the snatch record? 135 kilograms, Alicia replied. About 297 pounds. Jake did quick mental math and realized that Alicia's light warm-up weights would exceed what he considered impressive lifts for most men at the gym. Dr. Washington, Jake stammered, using the formal title he had just learned she held. I owe you a sincere apology. I made completely inappropriate assumptions about your abilities. Apology accepted, Alicia replied graciously. But I'm curious. What led you to conclude I wasn't capable of advanced training? Jake struggled to articulate his reasoning without revealing the discriminatory basis of his judgments. I guess I relied too heavily on visual assessment rather than actually listening to what you were telling me. Visual assessment? Jake realized he was being asked to confront his own biases directly. I made assumptions based on your appearance, your clothing, and other factors that had nothing to do with your actual abilities. Alicia nodded approvingly. What other factors? Jake looked around the gym, aware that several people were now watching their conversation. I think we both know what factors I'm talking about. I'd like you to say it directly. Jake took a deep breath. I made assumptions based on your race and gender. I assumed that a black woman couldn't be an elite athlete, especially in a strength sport. The admission hung in the air, forcing everyone within earshot to confront the ugly reality of athletic discrimination. Jake, Alicia said gently, those assumptions don't just affect me. They affect every black woman, every woman of color, every person who doesn't fit someone's mental image of what an athlete should look like. Jake nodded miserably. I realize that now. Do you? Because this isn't just about one embarrassing mistake. It's about the systematic barriers that keep people from accessing training opportunities, coaching, and support based on others' preconceptions. Maria stepped forward. Alicia, would you mind showing Jake what elite training actually looks like? Alicia smiled. I'd be happy to. For the next hour, Jake and a growing crowd of gym members watched Alicia conduct a training session that redefined their understanding of human strength and athletic excellence. She warmed up with weights that most of the gym's male members couldn't lift, performed technique work with precision that made professional trainers stop and take notes, and concluded with lifts that had never been attempted by anyone in the facility's history. When Alicia successfully clean and jerked 150 kilograms, 330 pounds, the entire gym erupted in spontaneous applause. Jake stood transfixed, watching a performance that shattered every assumption he had made about athletic ability and human potential. After her workout, Alicia approached Jake, who was still processing what he had witnessed. Jake, I want you to understand something important. The strength you just saw isn't about proving anyone wrong. It's about pursuing excellence regardless of what others think is possible. Jake nodded, his perspective permanently altered. Dr. Washington, is there anything I can do to make up for how I treated you today? Alicia considered the question. You can start by examining your assumptions about other athletes and training partners. You can listen when people tell you what they're capable of. And you can use your position here to create an environment where everyone feels welcome to pursue their potential. 3 months later, Jake had become one of Elite Performance's most sought-after trainers for female athletes and athletes of color. He credited his transformation to a conversation with an Olympic champion who taught him that strength comes in many forms, and that assumptions are the heaviest weights any athlete has to lift. Alicia continued training at Elite Performance whenever she was in Miami, often working with young athletes who were inspired by her example. The gym's culture gradually shifted from one of exclusion based on appearance to one of inclusion based on dedication and effort. And Jake Morrison never again suggested that someone try the assisted pull-up machine without first asking what they were capable of achieving. Because sometimes the most important training happens not in the weight room, but in the moments when we lift our preconceptions and discover what people are truly capable of when given the chance.